Board of Selectmen for Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. We're starting at 8:30 and we have a quorum. First of all, we want to add two items, NC Rink 2023 and Pave 2023. I move we added these two items to our agenda.
I have three items. Yeah. No.
Yes, I remember last night.
Here you go.
Oh,
I'll give him one because these are my notes.
no, I have one here. All right, well,
There's your private notes.
three items to the agenda. Information technology being the last one. And also that we want to move the library loan to the end of the agenda, right? So I move that and second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, first item, minutes from October 17th. Oh, first of all, I want to congratulate Deanna Carlson, Steve Carl, the other successful candidates on their elections. So we'll talk about more of that later.
Mhm.
So minutes. Any comments or corrections on the October 17th minutes?
Submitted already.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second here.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Members of the public. I don't see anybody from the public here. Anybody on by Zoom for public comments? Members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics, schedule review and or vote. And you can may submit comments electronically to bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Any comments? No. Cheryl, you're up next. Amwins renewal.
Thank you. And I believe Larry's on. Yes. Okay.
Good morning, Larry. Larry
Good
coming up.
morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well.
Thank you.
So we are here. This is the annual Amwins contract, which is the 2024 Group Retiree Medical and Prescription Drug Program renewal for the town of New Canaan. The plan is underwritten by Transamerica Life Insurance. We currently have 62 lives on the plan, of which 10 are spouses. The total cost for the plan is $508.12 per member and $1,011.21 for retiree and spouse. Retirees pay different amounts depending on when they retire, their union contracts, and stipends. We are currently paying approximately $20,000 per month, which would be approximately $240,000 per year. We have retirees going on and off every month, but the average is around 60. So I've asked Larry to also jump on in case you had any questions.
Any questions?
Will there ever be ones added to this, or this is something that's going to roll off over time? This particular plan, you say as retirees are
This
rolling
is a
off.
plan that we adopted, I believe, Larry, 5 years ago, that we offer to the retirees, and retirees go off and on. So the number
Okay.
changes
It does.
depending
Okay.
on
But
each
this is
month.
a-
We average anywhere between 58 and 62 or 63.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'll just add that we set up this program many years ago around the same time or a little bit after when we self-insured the program, because we did not want, not because we don't like them, but we did not want the over 65 retirees on the town self-insured plan. So we insure it, as Cheryl said, through a third party.
Got it.
And the town is off the risk, but we pay premiums that are subject to annual increases.
Yeah, it's a group supplemental plan, so
Yeah.
it's much more efficient and effective for the retirees
Right.
than the prior arrangement.
Might be on that next year.
And
That's-
one of
that-
our
no, that's
retirees
not the
won't
point.
won't
That's
be
not the
able to
point.
vote on this.
That's not the point. Some people were paying more in premium for their health insurance than they were getting in pension payments, so it really was good.
Balance, yeah.
Good thing for them.
Yeah.
All right, I move we approve this proposal to approve the Amwins group contract at 2024 as explained by Cheryl and Larry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Larry.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Who's up next? Nick? Tiger for Nick.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
They're cleaning our grit chamber this morning, so Nick can't be here. So just give you that little tidbit. So
Hey, that's great tidbit.
there you go. So this is an approval request to enter into contract with Trojan Technologies. They are actually the supplier of our UV system. That's our disinfecting system down at the plant for some additional materials that we need as part of the rehab project. It totals, you can see the totals, $29,301. The system itself is 23 years old. These parts are integral to the infrastructure and is a necessary portion of the treatment process. So we just like to have this contract with Trojan Technologies for $30,000.
Questions?
None here.
Let's keep this flowing.
Okay.
I got that one too.
Oh, boy.
We have a big agenda this morning.
Good.
We approved this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Trojan Technologies in the amount of $30,000 for UV system replacement parts at the wastewater treatment plant as described by Tiger. Second,
Second here.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is our chief. Deputy Chief.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. We're just here to get a release for our Telrepco renewal for our cloud storage on our body worn and vehicle install camera contract. It's an annual renewal and the money's been approved.
Questions?
None?
None here.
I don't have any questions. I move, we approve this request from the Police Department to enter into a contract with Telrepco in the amount of $33,500 for the annual renewal of software licenses. Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
All right. Jen. We're gonna keep this moving.
Hey, you can just say approved. I'll be out of here. Okay, so you have, we have back to back two different grants from the state, one for workforce development in the amount of 45,030. Any questions? It's to retain the public health nurse.
Right.
So I'm carrying it over from the ELC2 grant that ended in September. This technically backdates back to September 1st, goes to next June 30th, at which time the other grant will kick in that we'll talk about next.
Okay. So this is in the second year. Is that right? Or third?
That this is
This particular grant, or is this a brand new?
this is a brand new one.
Brand new one. Okay. Okay.
So I have a list of 20 or 25 questions.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Do you? Oh. I wasn't questioning that.
Okay. I have no questions, so I move we approve this request from the Health Department.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was quick.
Yes, I'm not spending money. I'm bringing in money.
Yeah,
So this should be
thank
good.
you.
The immunization grant is the next one. That one is total 48,156. This one technically began September 1st. So when I do the financial report in December and core CT, it backdates to then. It should be noted that 17,286 of this grant is specifically earmarked by the contract to media campaigning. That's the state requirement. So that has to go out to RFP, but I didn't want to go out to RFP until we got the approval here. And there's no way around that. I can't change that number. It's part of the contract.
Who's the RFP going out to? Media?
To any media that wants to, you know,
Okay,
do
we don't need
that section of the contract.
There's not a lot of media.
No, but the rest of the contract is for, again, retaining the public health nurse. So essentially between these two grants, I will get through to 2025 without, so this budget year, I won't be having to ask in the budget to fund the nurse position. It'll be again covered by grants.
Are these new grants?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, these are grants that you automatically get from the state. And now they've changed the process, so there's no more grant writing, which is nice. It's just a rubric of pre-approved language and you just check yes of what you're gonna do. And then I have to enter the budget into Core CT, which is the comptroller's database. Then they approve that. Then they send the contract electronically to Kevin, which is what we have now. But our internal process, we need, BOS approval before Kevin can
Right.
sign it. And then all the reporting, financial, is done in Court CT, the State Comptroller's database. Ann's copying on every single one of those submissions and all the emails too.
That's great.
But as Nick said, is this the first time we're getting this particular
Yep.
grant? Okay, it is. Okay, so new monies.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
great.
both totally new grants. The other ones are sunset. And the only grant I have recurring every year is the FEP grant, the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant. That's 11,708. That funds my part-time emergency preparedness coordinator for public health at 4 hours a week. That's a 5-year one that keeps going every 5 years. All these other ones end up sunsetting.
No further questions. I move we approve this request from the Health Department.
Oh, and I should note before you do that, it's not annual for the immunization. So that note on the thing is
You haven't
wrong.
said
That's my
hello.
fault.
Okay.
That's my fault, not Tucker's. It's not an annual grant.
It's just a one-time.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
one-time grant.
48,156
Yeah.
for the annual, for the immunization program this year. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Jen. Okay. Since we've moved the library loans to the end of the agenda, right? Why don't we take the New Canaan rink now to get Mr. O'Day out of here? We're trying to keep things flowing this morning. The 36 items on our agenda. Good morning, Rita, Tiger.
For reading.
Thank you. Thanks.
Morning.
Morning,
Morning.
So,
Tiger.
all right, thank you. I'm joined by Tom O'Day and Rita Bettino, both from NC Rink. The last selectmen's meeting, we approved the use of Waveney and the contract or the agreement with NC Rink to put in a rink and operate a rink at Waveney Park for this season. This is for Thin Ice Management, the company that will be operating the rink. Is for $40,000. It's to oversee the rink construction and then the actual operations of the rink. They did a nice job for us last year. He has been running the Westport PAL rink for the past 25 years. And we'd like to continue the agreement with Thin Ice Management. And the funds are being funded entirely by the grant from that NC Rink received from the state of Connecticut.
Does it flow through the town? Is
Flows
that why?
through the town. That's
Okay. Got it.
Any questions?
Comments?
No, we appreciate very much the town's support on this. The state grant of $200,000 in addition to Tony Boucher's $100,000 has been sufficient for the last 2 years. We have sufficient capital for the upcoming season. And we believe that the annual sales of the pass will cover whatever expenses that we're going to need going forward.
Who are the snowflake donors, Tommy?
Snowflake, they're donors that just donate a certain amount of money, and they're different versions of snowflakes. So smaller snowflakes all the way up to
They're all
platinum.
different snowflakes.
Well, there are actually
Unique.
It's they're gold, platinum, bronze, and then there's gold, platinum, bronze, and silver.
And you've got a website that tells people where they can donate.
Yeah,
how
and we
to
do
donate.
need donations. I know we don't have time today because you have a full schedule, but I just wanted you to know what the value that I think New Canaan Rink brought to the town in terms of people's enjoyment.
It's been fantastic. It's been
Hiring
a great.
local high schoolers, and it was a great season. I was really excited. Kevin, you came with your family, you enjoyed it for that one day. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure
Weren't
that
skates,
people
Kev?
understand.
We were not scared, no.
Your daughter loved it. Anyway, I just want to make
My
sure people
grandchildren.
understand the value that it brings to the town.
Are you gonna have an extended period versus last year? You add a couple weeks, maybe?
Yeah, we're targeting is okay. So we're targeting to open December 6th. Instead, last year we couldn't open till after Christmas. So we're hoping, weather permitting, we're hoping to open December 6th and go through the end of February. So yeah, a little bit longer than last year.
Great.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you for your volunteerism. We really appreciate it. It's a great It's been a great add-on to the town of New Canaan, and I think it's fantastic.
And thanks again to Tony Boucher for
And Tony, yeah, absolutely.
And for
First selectman,
And
first selectman.
First selectman.
First selectman.
Tony Boucher, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I move we approve this request from Public Works to on behalf of the NC Rink Inc. to enter into a contract with Thin Ice Management for $40,000 for rink construction and rink management for the 2023-24 outdoor skating season.
Second here.
All in favor?
I just want to add, I would thank Rita, Tiger, and the selectmen for your support. I mean, this wouldn't have happened without the
Yeah.
group support, so thank you.
100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, don't go away, Tiger.
We're skating through this.
Skating through this. All right, we bring this back to item 10,
Yeah.
and we have Margaret Riley, the CEO of the YMCA. Good morning, Margaret. Unfortunately, Russ Kimes has a memorial service to attend, so he's not here, but anyway. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we wanted to clear the deck with a lot of things that had been in the works, and we want to get the YMCA's cogen project moving forward, and we had granted them a ARPA grant of $500,000, so we wanted to complete the paperwork. And any question, do you want to make a brief presentation as to?
No, I mean, we have two agreements that we've been through the value of the CHP project when the government has approved it. All levels of government thankfully saw the value of this. So we have these two contracts, the emergency facility use agreement and the ARPA funding agreement. Just for your own information, it's been a year since the project was improved, and although we haven't yet accessed the ARPA funds, the Y has invested over tens of thousands of dollars already in development of the project. I think correctly, the first selectman wanted us to research the feasibility of the project, and we are well underway in doing that. And we expect to have a feasibility report and a cost benefit analysis. So this project will not only enable us to service the town's emergency shelter, which we're always happy to do anyway, but we'll do that in a reliable way. But we'll also save the Y a lot of money in operating expenses. So it's incredible value and helps with the COVID recovery of the town's biggest nonprofit. And will allow us to lessen our burden on the town's grid, the electric grid. So there's lots of value for this project.
And hopefully you'll get some federal dollars with the investment tax credit.
Absolutely intend to do that.
So questions?
Just remind us of the capacity that the Y would have in terms of emergency.
It's more, the capacity is governed more by the town's ability to stand up a shelter, as Russ would say if he were here, in terms of how many cots the town can provide and how much oversight the town can provide. So really our shelter is probably larger than the town will ever need to accommodate because of the town's resources for standing up a shelter.
Yeah, I've talked with Russ about this issue over the years. I mean, why is huge, huge footprint. So you can house a lot of folks. God,
There's a
you know,
plan
forbid
Yeah, I
we
saw
have to-
that.
which spaces can be used. So
Right.
It's it's gigantic.
But the actual expenses that you've started to use,
Yeah.
those don't involve the cots, or is that something on
Oh,
the
no,
town?
that's
Okay.
really just us understanding
Okay.
how we can install a CHP
Okay.
system that will then be able to electrify the areas that the town will need as a
Yeah.
shelter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no further questions. I move we approve this emergency facility use agreement and the ARPA sub-grant agreement between the Y and the town of New Canaan to provide emergency shelter services. Second,
Second,
for the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
And thank
Um,
you all for being such friends of the Y and supporting our work every day. We appreciate it.
Thank
Maybe I
you.
should have accused myself. I'm a Y member, but so
I think you're good. I think that's good.
everybody's a Y member.
Yes.
Is Bethany here? Bethany coming for the,
We have the easement first.
Easement,
oh, we're gonna
Mark
continue.
Slope.
At easement agreement 11.
you have a different.
I have a different version of the agenda. I have the last draft, I guess. Yeah, this is the final. Okay, easement agreement, yes.
Would you like me to walk you through it?
Go ahead.
It has your name on the bottom of it, so I just want to.
Oh, well, the genesis of this was that we had proposed a use of ARPA funds to do flexi pave around the Mead Park Pond.
Mhm.
And then we discovered our neighbors, Park Slope condominium, unfortunately historically have a piece of property that juts close to the pond. And we've been talking for probably 6 months with that condo association to resolve this disagreement. And fortunately, we've come to an agreement to confirm a permanent easement for the benefit of our public who walks around the pond. And we may or may not proceed. The FlexiPay project is the only ARPA project that hasn't been approved beyond the Board of Selectmen.
I think
Correct.
so. I think so.
So, but we really had to come to an agreement with the condominium association. So anything further, Tiger, you'd like to?
No, it's just that we, as Kevin said, as we developed forward, we realized that their lot is oddly shaped. So it has a couple of teeth in it that actually protrude down towards the pond and get rather close to the pond. So that if we were going to do anything in the desire line from the people walking is actually through their property, is what we discovered when we went out there and surveyed it. So at that point in time, we met with the members of Park Slope to come up with this easement agreement to allow the continued use of that area since we've been utilizing for the past 50, 60 years or more since the park was incorporated. So
Did they did they even know that those teeth that you talk about?
I don't think anyone
protruded.
I don't think anyone understood the extent of
Right.
exactly how far, to
Right.
be quite honest with you.
Right.
Until we actually had it surveyed. So and at that point in time, we realized exactly, the extent of it. So, and then at that point in time, predominantly, if you're walking in that area, you're walking on their property.
And so the association recognizes that, this is an upside, I think, for them, because people are going there anyway. And now that they're with FlexiPay, they're gonna kind of stay the course on the.
Well, one of the conditions is we can't put FlexiPay over their property. So
Correct.
it would, if we do it, it would be somewhat disjointed.
What is there?
So what
now?
are we
Is it
gonna do
just
then?
grass?
Right now, it's just grass and
grass.
it's just grass, and the desire line has actually brought it down to the dirt. So you can see a desire line running through around the pond. You can see the desire line from the majority of water.
So we'll go from FlexiPave to grass back to FlexiPave. That
No FlexiPay.
Not,
Well,
not, yeah, it's
not on
not
their
all.
property.
There's blacktop
Yeah.
for the portion that comes into the park, into the,
Right, where it comes down to the pump station, you
Yeah.
have that paved. And then at that point in time, it would be, if we were to continue with the path, it would be grass across it to a FlexiPay path that would lead us to the bridges and around the pond.
Okay.
Subsequent thought was to put in a boardwalk around their property to actually come along and be, over top of the water a little bit, because that is our property, as the water is our property. But we haven't finalized the design, actually gone forward with the design any further. We needed to resolve the easement first, to understand what the parameters would be
right.
before we could then continue with the design. We had to know exactly what they would want on their parcel versus.
So there'll be some delineation of the walkway around.
That's correct.
it'll be obvious.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And so, and I think I saw that we're removing 3 trees on their property. Is that right? Is that part of the?
3 of the Gold Star Walk trees were unfortunately on their property. That's correct. We've already had those removed.
Okay.
We had a date in here of November 15th as a last date, only because we were waiting for the leaves to drop and the trees to go into dormancy. They actually did that a little bit earlier. We were able to do that on the 31st of October. We had the 3 trees relocated onto town property a little bit further north along the Gold Star Walk, placed adjacent to existing Gold Star Walk trees. So they've already been that's already been taken care of.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. And would any savings from not doing the FlexiPave go back into the ARPA funds for redeployment to another project?
No, first of all, it wouldn't be significant, but it's also, the project hasn't even been designed and estimated yet. So
Okay.
what was the ARPA fund recommendation? Was 250, I think?
250,000.
250, and it'll probably be considerably less than that if
Yeah.
it's done. So
Yeah. Okay.
But where would that money go? I think that's what you.
Right.
were-
but again, this is money that the town is spending on our park. So it's not as though
Yeah, no.
if anything saved comes back into the general fund, like the rest of the ARPA money does.
Right.
Anything unspent just comes back to us.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, no further questions. I move we approve this proposed agreement between the town of New Canaan and Park Slope Condominium Association located at 197 to 221 Park Street, as described by Tiger. Second, for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Now we get to Bethany. Good morning, Bethany. Opioid settlement agreement funds.
Apologize. So the opioid settlement fund, I've done some research on this in terms of what is expected of the town. And there is really Katie Ramos she's a representative for the State Opioid Settlement Advisory Committee. And what the town has to do is just come up with how they want to spend the settlement. So that being the case, at this point, we have received about $80,000 that finance does have. And so as a result, Anne reached out to the departments, and Human Services has come up with 4 proposals and Police Department have come up with 1. So I would like to present these, and any questions. We tried to look at this in terms of the schedule, Exhibit E, the Schedule A core strategies that they request that we stay in this realm. And so we definitely have done, Police Department is looking for naloxone and training. The New Canaan Urgent Assessment Program, we thought we could expansion of a warm handoff program if someone is in need of additional services. We could possibly help with the payment of that. And the New Canaan Cares Local Prevention Council and a program called REAL, which stands for Recovery, Education, and Applied Learning. Those would be our prevention programs. With a maximum amount of no more than real is $500 a month. And it would be we would be buying a license to place the access to the website on our town website. And so the town would pay for a licensed password is that we could give what they would call Human Services, and we could give them the password or some user-friendly access to it. And the first 3 months are at no charge to the user. So the town would be giving the resident 3 months of payment. And then if they chose to move on and use it more often, they could. And then the New Canaan Cares, they run the local prevention council, which is vital for the education and resources in our area. And then the New Canaan Community Foundation, along with Silver Hill and the town, the behavioral health needs assessment. We would love to have a town-wide assessment. There was one done from a school aspect in 2011, Kevin. 2011, this one would be done as a town-wide and not to exceed $25,000. This would be looking at opioids. There'd be many realms to this behavioral health assessment, but because of the remediation uses, we could get it, the opioid settlement money could go towards this. So those are my 5 recommendations. That the town spend this money.
And the Health and Human Services Commission
has
reviewed these and
has reviewed them and has made a motion to move forward to bring this in front of you all. Once the town decides, I spoke once again up at the state. The state does not need approval after you approve. We have to turn in what we're doing. But this would be the coming to you for to pass these motions, this memo that would allow us to start the programs.
And this is a one-time, this is the J&J, all, 46 states.
Correct.
and three of the big pharma companies, 21 billion. This is one, there's no money.
This
in
is one
future
and
years.
done.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah. No.
This is one and done. There are schedules, if you look at the appropriations, what each state, what Connecticut is getting and what each town is getting.
Right.
We could get up to 270,000, up to, right now we've gotten 80, but this is a 10-year disbursement.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's helpful.
I think these are great programs. And then in your capacity, you would actually follow up on these, that they were actually done and so forth. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to put this right in human services wheelhouse. This isn't part of the budget for next year or to add on to it. This would be, this is money with the remediations going to an opioid settlement focus.
When will you know whether we can get up to the higher amount? At what point will that become?
If finance
crystallized?
receives more money from the settlement,
Right.
and then at that point, perhaps we'll send out another access. I don't know if Anne wants to, she'll be the gatekeeper on that. But we could always, find resources and to support in terms of education and welfare for the community and its residents.
Bethany, on the behavioral health needs assessment, would that be done by a third party or is that done?
Yes, so New Canaan Community Foundation is looking into companies that do this. I know, Kevin, you spoke to a
Well, you
state.
would also have a sort of a committee of the Behavioral Health Alliance working with the Community Foundation and the town to come up with this survey instrument. And
Which, New Canaan Community Foundation already has a meeting set for November 16th to start this process. And they did the behavioral health assessment, which is why we have the New Canaan Urgent Assessment Program. Lauren Patterson did a wonderful job in finding, disparities. So this survey, there hasn't been one done since 2011, and that one was school based. So I think it would be very interesting to see. And there are companies out there that have experience and understand the state. And I think we could get a good outcome to see where we need to focus our efforts on.
we've talked to Great Blue Research, which did our community survey
Yep.
previously, but there are others as well. So that anyway, we're supposed to allocate.
And so Lauren feels 25,000
Sufficient.
is sufficient to run this survey
Okay.
assessment.
I move to approve this request from Human Services to apply the Janssen opioid settlement funds in support of a series of programs consistent with the assigned opioid remediation uses. Second, further discussion?
None here.
All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Bethany.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, let's keep it moving, John. It's gonna be a long meeting.
10:13.
Not to shut the slide.
Okay, so the first item is snack bar appliances for Mead Park, where the apple cart works out of. So we're looking for $24,090 and 61 cents, plus a contingency of 2409 for 26,499.61. This will virtually replace every town-owned appliance for the snack bar there. It will also replace a freezer upstairs, which will solve some of our problems that we've been having with moisture issues. So
Any questions?
Hey, John, was this in the budget?
yes, I'm sorry. This is in the present capital budget.
Right.
So
What's
yeah,
how old are the existing
I-
facilities?
almost 20 years. I
Yeah.
think it's been there like 18 years now. So
So it's time.
it's time. And they'll be a little bit more efficient. That will help, but it will also save us on the repair costs, which we incur being the landlord.
Right.
Are there operations or machines that are appliances that are there that are not part of owned by the town? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
One we're not replacing is a fryolator because they virtually last forever.
Oh.
So that's good news. That's owned by us. But then there's the grill that he uses and like Pepsi coolers for drinks and things.
Okay.
Those are provided to him by Pepsi.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
And all of these facilities are under the purview of that young lady over there. Right. Even though it's town owned.
I move we approve this request from Parks and Rec. Probably actually the Parks Department. To enter into a contract with Central Products.
He does both.
Central Restaurant Products in the amount of 26,499.61, which includes a contingency for the purchase of various kitchen appliances at Mead Park Snack Bar as described by John Howe. Thank you.
Second here.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Oh.
Trying to move along. Portable lights.
Okay, the next one is the light towers. This would be to purchase 2 more used light towers that we use all around town for anything from community events, such as caroling, when we need them for snow removal, Mayfair, 4th of July, etc. So this would be purchasing them from United Rentals.
Are these used?
They're used.
Hmm.
What we do is we have one of the highway mechanics goes and evaluates them. And the United Rentals goes through them, services them before we purchase them.
Okay.
And it saves a lot of money by buying used. And it's not like we're running them on the highway
Right.
10 hours a night or anything like that. So for our use, they're great.
Where do we store these?
In various locations, like, but quite often up at the barn at Waveney, or like right now, there's 2 over at Dunning because they're being used for the nighttime events there.
How many do we have altogether? Now,
That will give us a total of 6 working ones. Right now, we have 6, but they're 20 plus years old. So one of them is not operable and the other one is on its last leg.
Mhm.
So it's not worth repairing them when they get to that point.
Mhm.
I move we approve this request from the Parks Department to enter into a contract with United Rentals in the amount of 12,906.62, which includes a contingency for the purchase of 2 portable lights as described by John. Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last one, due to a little bit of misunderstanding, we're coming in after the fact. We're looking for our fall festival we had up at Waveney. We partnered with Elm Street Events. And to pay them, we're looking for $15,153.98. We do have the money, but we did not seek approval before the event. We thought we already had the PO in place. So
Questions? I move we approve this request to enter into an agreement with Elm Street Events for the event that was held for the Fall Family Festival event for $15,153.98. Second,
Aaron.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Okay, now we have a series of PD temporary location requests.
Knock them all off.
Morning. Good morning.
Morning. Wow.
So we'll see if we can get 5 done in 5 minutes. So these are all for the temporary police department. The first one is for security cameras. I won't go into a lot of detail on these because obviously it's security, but there'll be 17 cameras in and around 39 Locust. A+ Security has worked for the Board of Education in 39 Locust, so they're very familiar with the building. And the breakdown is basically $30,000 for all the parts and smarts and $20,000 for professional services, which is the installation and programming, warranty, etc. So the Department of Public Works is requesting approval to enter into a contract with A+ Security, Technology and Security for a value of $51,129.01, with a contingency of $7,500 for a total of $58,629.
Can I suggest we do 16 through 20? Joe will summarize it, and then if we have any questions on the individual items,
Great.
because they're all necessary related to moving the PD to Locust Avenue.
Okay. So the next one is the dispatch desks for the temporary police station. So these are actually traders' desks. They're nice sturdy desks so that this is where they're going to sit. The dispatchers are going to sit 24/7 for the next year to year and a half. So it's important that they're very durable. And also we have to hang a lot of monitors up off of them. So they have to be really strong. So we're looking to buy 4 traders' desks from Stanford Office Furniture for the value of $8,835 plus a contingency of $2,000 for a total of $10,835.
Hey, Joe, what will we do with these desks when we have a new PD?
We'll try to repurpose them to the extent possible, but going to be honest, we're going to make a little bit of a mess out of them to, attach everything that we need to.
Right.
So it's just kind of making an omelet. Number 18, the fence for the police vehicle and trailer storage. So, we would like to make a spot at the top of Talmadge Hill lot, which is basically take 9 parking spaces and fence it in. It would be like a horseshoe shaped fence, and then just a series of gates across it. So it would only take up the 9 parking spots, and it would be on the uppermost lot of Talmadge Hill, which is currently adjacent to the construction trailer. So if you've been out there in the last, year and a half, there's been a construction trailer out there for the water company's work. So it would go right adjacent to that. So the Department of Public Works is requesting authorization to enter into contract with Eagle Fence for a value of $19,500 plus a contingency of $22,925 for a total of $22,425. Number 19 for added security measures. Basically, due to recent events around the state with police departments, people going into police departments, we added another layer of protection at the windows. I won't go into details, but there is backup if you wanted to look into it. So the Department of Public Works is requesting to increase Turner Construction's contract value by $12,200 plus a contingency of $1,830 for a total of $14,030. And that's to add,
So you
add
referenced,
security.
maybe this is a question for you, Joe, but you referenced stuff going on within the state as.
So there was an incident in Bristol. I think it was going to be, almost like an attempted suicide by cop, where
Okay.
someone went in and into a dispatch center.
Okay.
And they went in there with a firearm.
Okay.
So there was just some added protection at the windows. I think they thought that was appropriate to add some more additional protection. We already had some, but we're adding additional protection throughout the police station.
Good. Good.
The last one, number 20, the move to 39 Locust. So Castor Moving Company has performed numerous moves for the town of New Canaan very successfully. The move will be performed in 3 phases. We're going to move over evidence and then the main office contents, and then some items that are going to go to storage. So like I said, Castor has performed several successful moves for the town. So the Department of Public Works is requesting approval to enter into a contract with Castor Moving Company for a value of $24,231.50 plus a contingency of $3,635 for a total of $27,866.50. And for all these, the funds are available, and most of them are done on state contracts.
Any questions on any of them?
Just, thank you. There's a lot. So on the fencing up
Yes.
at the Talmadge Hill, so that's on our own town property. Is that correct?
Correct. It's the uppermost lot of Talmadge Hill.
And is that going to be a temporary, is that fencing going to be there then permanently? And it's going to be used once we get through this project in terms of the moving the police department, but what else will it be used for subsequently?
So it is a permanent fence, so it could be used permanently.
Okay.
I think the plan currently is for it to be temporary. But there could possibly be a use for it after, but I think we'd come back and
How many spaces did it take?
9 parking spaces.
9 parking places?
We don't have any expectation of that upper lot ever being full again. Yeah, so.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see if.
it's been fairly empty, and it's done in a manner so that we could just take it out, so that we can restore them as parking spots.
It's also
very
sort
easily.
of, we've opened up permits to non-residents so that lot sort of become a regional transportation parking lot. But, we don't, people have changed their work schedules.
Sure, yeah. And then on the security cameras on 39 Locust, are those going to be reused then for the new police or the remodeled
No.
police station?
Not for the new police building,
Okay,
because they're very specific to the areas that they're going to protect, but they are IP based cameras. So we'll be able to put them back into town inventory and we could
You
use
can.
them for,
Okay. Okay,
we could use
great.
them for anything else.
And did you need permission from the landlord or any surrounding residents or other property owners?
Nothing from the landlord that I know of. I can
Just curious.
research that, but I don't think so. I think there's no
Well, they don't,
assumption that you have any privacy once you're out on
they
the
don't,
street.
they don't record any sound. They just record. Right, so that
That's-
you don't, you can have cameras that, as long as they don't record
Mhm.
sound without
Mhm.
consent.
That's all I had.
Okay, so I move all these items 16 through 20. I'm sorry, through 19 through 20. And we'll reflect the minutes that we acted on each of these individually. I have a second.
Second.
Further discussion?
Done here.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Okay. What's the expected move date for the PD?
Still December 4th. We still just need to lock in with the 911 folks. They're the only people that really aren't in our control 100%. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Bill, you got a generator for the PD.
You always do.
I thought we'd done this generator 3 times before. What aspect of this generator is?
All right, so this is one of those supply chain issues. Back in January, we had approval and we ordered a transfer switch. And the transfer switch, they can't build it. It's in Mexico. They can't get parts. It's been delayed. So because of the timing of everything, we're requesting that we get approval for you folks to contract with Huntington Power to rent a transfer switch for $90,000, $969, plus a contingency of $13,645.48. That's for an 18-month rental. Obviously, if we don't go the full 18 months, it'll be less, but I put the full 18 months in there just to have it covered. Unfortunately, when we get the rental switch and we put it in, there's no turning back at that point unless we kill the power in the whole building for a long day to try to put our new switch in if we get it. So what I'd like to do is rent this one and then I'm going to try to cancel the order on the other one. If we can't cancel without any penalties, then we can always sell it. It's going to have value. I mean, everybody's waiting for a year and a half in some situations for this stuff to show up and it's just not happening. And
Why wouldn't they allow you to cancel it since they haven't delivered?
I have to look at the agreements and find out. That's what we got to look into. That was my argument with the manufacturers that, we ordered it back in January. You didn't produce,
Right.
so and it's going to be an argument and everybody's using the supply chain issues as a defense. And I don't know.
So you got outside counsel looking at this?
We're gonna, once I get through today with you folks here, if you get approval, then I'll do whatever I have to do. And again, if we get stuck with it, I think the value of the switch is gonna hold its value because, if I put on the street there, we have a switch, we're gonna sell, I think people will be banging on our door, to be honest with you.
How much was our approved budget back in January for
It
the
was 50,
permanent switch?
I think it was approximately $50,000 and that was for a switch and the docking station, which we've gotten the docking station. The switch itself is probably in the $40,000 range of that 50,000, because that's the most expensive piece of the puzzle.
So the actual rental is more than double.
There you go. That's how rental companies make money.
Can we
Unfortunately.
buy?
It also includes, the rental also includes all the cabling, because it's now I'm getting into where the switch when you rent is a temporary modification that they made to the switch. So they plug cables into it, where a new switch would always be hardwired. So I have to get the cables from the company too and rent those. It's just how it goes on a temporary basis when you do temporary setups like this.
You did look to buy it, but they won't allow us to buy it.
Yeah.
You tried to buy it from the rental
Yeah.
company?
Not allow us to buy it. They did
Okay.
ask that question.
Yeah.
They asked even to switch,
Yeah,
meaning take theirs.
we'll give you a new one. Yeah,
Right.
right.
And they
Right.
didn't do that either.
Yeah.
So we didn't look at those opportunities.
Yeah.
We're a little shackled.
Where's Huntington Power?
They're around the state, but in Shelton is the local branch I'm dealing with. They're also the company we purchased.
And we can't find another one around the United States besides Huntington Power. Anyway, I suppose that this is a necessary thing if we're gonna.
Well, one of our problems is the run rate on the building itself. So the run rate on the building is $30,000, a month just on the rental. So if we don't get into the building in time, we're still paying the lease for $30,000 plus. So that's one of the problems that we have is that while I agree with you, it's 90,000.
It would also delay the construction start.
That too.
That's more
I mean,
important than anything, perhaps.
Well, everything has a cascading effect,
Right.
exactly. But the bigger one is that if we don't go in the building at the time and the building lies fallow while we're waiting for this material to arrive, and if it doesn't arrive, we're just kicking the can down the curb. So kicking the can down the street there. So you'd be looking at $30,000 plus every month. So after 1 month, we'll trip into the point where we're actually losing money off of it. So that was our problem looking at it. And they wouldn't allow us to buy it, wouldn't allow us to then rent it, give them theirs. It was strictly a rental process. So that's unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Otherwise, the
And
PD,
this is still within the budget, though, despite the fact of being double
Right.
what we originally thought.
We're
Well,
hopeful.
that's why we have contingency, but
It's
yeah,
going into
so
our
we're not happy
contingency.
about that, but that's,
Yeah.
yes, that's gonna hit, that'll hit the contingency. It's correct.
Yeah, okay.
I move we approve this request from the Public Works to enter into a contract with Huntington Power for a total of $104,614.96, which includes a
You wanna say?
contingency for the transfer switch and related parts for the generator equipment at 39 Locust Avenue as described by Bill. Second,
I second it reluctantly, but but by necessity, I second.
further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Bill.
Great,
Now,
thank you. The next item is the Playhouse Theater project. We're requesting a change order approval to increase the contract with Architectural Preservation Studio in the amount of $115,200 plus a contingency of $5,760 for a total cost of $129,60. 50% of that amount will be covered by Cinema Lab. Because the town holds the contract, I still have to go through other approvals for the board to approve the change order to a contract. The current contract stands at $320,900. If we add the $115,200 to it, we're at $436,100, which in turn is only 6% of the total project cost, when typical soft costs in this nature is anywhere from 10 to 15%. So this covers engineering and all that. And this will cover all the
The
administrative
total project
services.
cost being the revised higher cost,
Excuse me?
correct? When you reference the total project cost, you're talking about the new
Yes, well, the price,
The-
the
the
project
new-
of,
over budget cost.
I don't, we're not gonna argue about that. It's $7,225,000, the
yeah.
current project as it stands.
yeah.
And so we're only at 6% of that value for the soft cost.
But this is a 33% increase in the original spend, right? Because it's 300,000, now we're going another 120,000. Is that correct?
Right, well, you also had Cinema Lab cover 20% of those soft costs, and now they're becoming 50% of this additional. So there's, and it's still within the program.
And so why is this being done? Why the additional spend here?
We have the administrative services portion of the contract that we want to move forward with for all the approvals, reviews of all the engineering submittals. They're on site, quite a bit, and to make sure everything's being put together the way it was designed to be put together. So this is the final, usually it's like a four.
So the new, I'm sorry, Bill, just remind me, the new number, the new bogey, if you will, is 7 million.
7,225,000 is for the interior renovation.
Right. And so we're confident
that-
that
and
that
of
number
that-
is
and of
not,
that-
we're confident that that number is not going to increase. Is that correct?
It's not gonna increase because we're working to keep it there and trying to come in a little lower. I mean, all parties know there's no more money being put in this project. We're gonna
Right.
make it work for what we have, period. And that's where we're working towards. And I've been working with Cinema Lab and, and I told them about this, they're covering the 50% because I felt that's not the towns, what they needed done. And they agreed and we sorted through it. And so they're gonna, not only did they already pay the 20% of the 320, they're gonna be paying 50% of the 115,000.
Which is great. Although obviously with respect to the other cost overruns, the town's absorbing 95% of the costs, right?
Well, that's objective.
Right. Right.
questions?
I forgot what it was. Okay, so has this delayed in any way the expectation of when this project will be completed?
No, not at all. This
Okay.
is, we're at the
Just-
point where we need to continue with the services as the last phase of the services on the contract to have
Okay,
them do the reviews. Paper's been coming in, they've been covering it, but we just want to get this thing whole with these folks and
okay, I remembered my question. Actually, when we first had the cost overruns and so forth, and we brought in Hobbs to take a look at these things, were they consulted when we looked to add to whatever work needed to be done by Architecture Preservation Studio?
I've reviewed the whole project. The 7.2 million basically, and
But not this piece?
well, they did. They work with the architects going through everything, and they understand that, you know, you're going to have administrative services. That's standard procedure with
Okay.
architects and engineers. You want to make sure that they're putting in what was designed, and you know, it's a diligence, and they'll sign off on it. I mean, we have great trustworthy contractors, but we still want the engineers to confirm it because we don't want them to get by and that, you know, whether it be intentionally or non-intentionally, we have to make sure we're paying for what they're supposed to be putting in.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions. I move the request from Public Works for a change order to for a contract with Architectural Preservation Studio, DPC, in the total amount of $120,960 as described by Bill, to be equally shared in the town and Cinema Lab. Second,
Second.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
And thanks,
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bill.
20 years.
Thanks.
All right, so who's
Right.
presenting this? Are we just gonna do this on our own? Okay, so the chief had to be elsewhere, so this is a purchase of 6 sets of firefighting turnout gear in the amount of $23,279.82 from Firematic Supply Company. So to keep this moving, I move we approve this item. The chief-
And it's in the budget.
It's in the budget, the
Yeah,
chief recommended
right.
it. And actually, so I move second,
Second here.
all in favor? Aye.
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 Training equipment for the fire department. Enter into contract with Water Training Resources in the amount of $16,447 for flood swift water training equipment. I move we approve this.
Second.
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Kaiser and Tucker. Why don't we add the other item while you're coming up? Just
Okay,
for
you
the,
can- This first item, you've heard from us before on this, the project's been approved. The reason that we're here with you this morning is because this project is using a portion of ARPA funds as well as the grant funds that we received. We need to have you all approve the purchase order because ARPA funds ask that you bid out unless we were previously working with the vendor. So in other words, because we were already in contract with the vendor to do this project and then received the grant and the portion of ARPA funds, the way to reconcile the not going out to bid is to have you all just approve the purchase order. Is that correct?
so the total project is now 222.
It has been all along.
981. And we have a pure grant and a ARPA funds and a small piece of
Correct.
Right.
our budget.
Towards the cabling and things, yep. Can you just describe briefly the nature of the upgrades?
Sure. So the digital to analog conversion we have in the back right now will all be changed to digital. There'll be digital IP cameras in the rooms. There'll be remote wireless mics, push to talk, so all the wiring will go away. All the audio gets changed out. Power consumption will actually be a lot less as well. In the back of the room, it'll be a little smaller. Same thing in the other room. So they're doing both rooms. And we'll be able to record remotely. We'll be able to manage the meetings remotely. And it will be a direct inject to say it's a Zoom meeting right now. They won't have to log. It'll all be done as soon as they log into the system and start the meeting. It's already set up in the cloud, ready for them to run. So we won't have any mistakes.
That's great.
In this room and the other room.
Correct.
And then, and we'll have the on-air
Absolutely.
actually work, like it's always on air. It's always lit up like, okay,
Well, you
hello, am I on camera? I mean.
You can turn it off over there, but they were a little confused with that as well. It was something we added afterward.
Yeah,
To let you guys know. So
That's great. That's great. Hallelujah.
Yep.
It's about time we,
We've been working very hard. We were here yesterday for 3 hours
my
with
gosh.
them and and our cabling people and their engineers. Because again, it's the equipment won't show up till early December or late December, and then we have to get it in, but that's been pushed because we just can't get it here.
And Bob Doran has been working with us on this project as
Yeah.
the Channel 79 representative, so.
He's
they're
been
all
great.
in
He's
lockstep.
He's the best.
Yep.
he's the video guy.
Well, while we won't ever see the benefit of that, consider it our contribution to future boards and commissions and, so yeah, absolutely.
One of my things that since it's our last meeting, I don't know, when I was on the Board of Ed, running the Board of Ed, Hazel Hobbs, God bless her, and we pushed forward the first time, putting meetings on TV. And I remember we were like concerned because I had 9 of us, and like, is everybody gonna talk? Like, is the meeting's gonna be like 4 hours long? And then we worried about folks coming in and commenting for 20 minutes and stuff and whatever, but it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
It worked out pretty well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Tyler.
Mhm.
Don't go away.
Chris,
Want to do that one? Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I move this purchase order for Vision Point in the amount of 222,981 for the upgrades to the audiovisual equipment in the town hall meeting room and boardrooms as described by Tucker and Chris. Second, further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
How are you?
You want to sell? How's your foot?
I had him sit in because it is your last meeting. It's a pleasure working with you and for you.
Oh, I'm
So,
Thank you.
pleased. Thank you.
Chris.
What other item here? IT for access contingency funds to in the amount of $150,000 contract with Presidio to replace existing Dell rail system, which enables the entire server desktop environment for the town. Sounds big. Let's explain what this does.
I don't know what,
Entire virtual solution and system.
what does that
Get
mean?
just about 8 years out of it. They gift you maybe 5, 6 with support. We've gotten all the way to 8. We're at our last revision. We budgeted for it, but then the licensing has increased. The products that we have to install to keep up with the video convergence now, the video and audio, all of it is, and all of the new office products solutions are slowing everything down. So that's why we feel we need to go forward with this right away. We're gonna-
Dipping into contingency? Is
Correct.
that, okay?
Yep, we're gonna
Okay.
have to go to Board of Finance as well. But it runs its course before July anyway,
Right.
so. And we were slated to do it over the winter. It just, it runs everything, police, fire, EMS, EOC, town hall users, you name it. It all runs, public kiosks, all of it. So it's not a huge ask to make this one. And the idea is to get 5 to 8 out of it. And we're pretty confident we're gonna get 7. The 5 years and with Sal's work was great. It was a 3-year support contract that they're gonna gift us 2 years. Because we argued so much that you can't, as a municipality, keep coming for a couple $100,000 every couple of years to change this out. So
Right.
we got 8 years out of the first time.
Right. Sounds pretty important.
But this wasn't anticipated. So we didn't budget for this because
We budgeted for most of it. We didn't budget for the 150 because the switch gear needs to be replaced and they increased. To get technical, it's CPUs to GPUs now. We have to add all of these graphical processing units for all the video and audio that goes on now. All of our cybersecurity training, people, it stutters, they can't watch it. It's because it wasn't built into the original system because back then video wasn't as prominent. Now it's everything.
We save our video in perpetuity, so all of the meetings that we videotape, are they part of a storage plan that we have, and how do we
There,
ensure that that's?
yeah, we have it, and Sal can answer this. He's our video
aren't they in YouTube?
administrator.
Aren't they in YouTube?
Yep.
They're in 3 places.
That's Google.
3
Goo-
places,
Goo-
right?
YouTube's owned by Google. They're gonna be
What are
here.
the 3 places?
YouTube,
It's all in the cloud.
yeah, YouTube cloud.
Yeah.
And then on within this system that we're trying to upgrade as well.
So it's also going to be on the server as
Yes.
storage.
Correct.
How do you, but that
Not our,
obviously,
not our servers. It's in the
it's our server.
YouTube
Our
cloud.
Yeah, It's in the cloud and it's also here too. We keep a copy of it just in case anything ever were to lose.
Oh, really?
Yep.
YouTube were to go away.
Right.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden becomes a subscription or something like that for
Right.
people to go look at.
Right.
We anticipate keeping it. So
Which it could become.
I mean, that's a lot of storage, right? So,
yeah.
right,
They're also in the Zoom cloud.
Right.
As well. There's a certain period. for
right.
these
A
videos.
certain period though, and then they ask you to pay for it.
Yes.
And, yeah.
it's not
Right, right.
But with this solution as well is it's a complete installation. They come in, their engineers upgrade us, they move everything, 100% data exchange, all of that. So the threat of losing anything or there'll be no downtime to this upgrade, which is huge.
So you'll bring this to the Board of Finance next week as well? Okay. Further questions?
None here.
I move we approve this request from IT to access contingency funds, in the amount of $150,000 and to enter into a contract with Presidio in the amount of $372,901.72 to replace the existing Dell EX rail system. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. All right. That brings us to 26. Wow, we're gonna spend all the money today. Tell the new Board of Selectmen they don't have any money about it.
That was the goal. That was the goal.
They thought they had.
Go Mike. And Tiger.
All right. So
All
thank
right.
you. So I'm joined by Mike Benevento, chairman of the New Canaan Athletic Foundation. So with this first item is for a survey of the Saks turf fields. So the thought is to now look at Saks for the potential to install turf fields at Saks. It was one of the recommendations that we had previously. Looking at for the fact that some of the fields at Saks are a little bit too wet for a gym class to go out. And given that the fact that they're grass, we're not able to play on them as much as we would like. So the Athletic Foundation is coming forward with funds to survey the entire grass area to be able to take a look at and then work forward towards the design. RKW gave us a proposal for $12,150. I added a contingency of $1,750 for a total cost of $13,900 for the survey of the existing grass fields for possible installation of new turf fields.
So are we worried about neighbors owning our property?
No, we're not on this one. I think we're okay here.
How many turf fields, guys? The whole thing?
Well, at present, we're surveying the entire thing because I didn't want to limit it to one location to then let the engineers determine. But I'll let Mike answer the question on the.
I think that there's been especially off of this fall and all the rain on the weekends.
Yeah, every
there's
weekend.
been a groundswell of the youth sports asking for this. And interestingly, in discussions with the Board of Ed and Dr. Lutzy, and I guess they're losing time for gym classes at Saks as well, because they can't go out to use the fields for recess. And I can tell you from my fifth grader, yeah, I have a fifth grader. Every time I say that, that's a real issue. But for anything to get done, and we learned this with the Dunning projects, we learned this with the Coppo Field baseball project, the first thing to do is to survey the area before you can even initiate.
It's always been swampy. I mean, having coached on those fields for years, it just, I don't know, Tiger, maybe the history, the topography of those fields, but particularly as you go further east, they seem to get, they seem to get worse, right?
You're correct.
If you're closer to the South Avenue, it's not as bad, but as you go east, it gets worse and worse.
Everything pitches downhill.
Yeah.
I think the other initiative and catalyst for this was really the fields allocation and the bottleneck that we've faced at the youth sport level. And there is a group that would like to see more turf to relieve that bottleneck, hopefully. And so as we looked around at logical places, this was one in coordination with the BOE that seemed to make sense. So we start at the beginning and we get a survey done. That's where we're at. We can't even do anything.
Are we also doing Connor Field with turf? I thought, where does that stand?
Have that. when
That
we
was in
did
the,
Capo.
that was in the budget and it got pushed.
It got pushed.
Yeah, and then we brought forward Capo instead, or the Athletic Foundation
Right,
brought forward
right.
Capo instead.
Your comments are well taken, Michael. Thank you. And, hopefully our successors will, move to expand the Fields Committee, as we've discussed, as I've discussed previously. And I want to commend you for the shout out to Brown University this morning.
Today
My
is
alma mater.
National Letter of Intent Signing Day, so I have to go to the high school at noon to.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Go Bruno.
Bring your 5-year-old. This is a good idea. And we want to move along. Any questions?
No.
You want me to do the next one?
No, I want to move this one.
Just move this.
I move we approve this request from Public Works for in partnership with the New Canaan Athletic Foundation, which is going to pay for this survey. Thank you. For $13,900, which continues a contingency for RKW land surveying as described by Tiger and Mike. Second
Here.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Can we do item 30 now while
Sure.
Mike's here?
Oh,
Yeah.
what's item 30?
Item 30 is Dunning Stadium Improvement Phase 1A.
Yes, okay. Well, Mike's here.
Right, so thank you. So this is, we're excited to bring forward a contract with Grasso Construction for the initial phase of construction at Dunning Stadium, the improvements. It's for Phase 1A, which is the donor wall installation. Grasso, we had Turner go out and bid the project. Grasso came in at the low bid at $95,277. I had a contingency of $14,300 for a total of $109,577. And the funds for this donor wall are being provided by the Athletic Foundation.
And it's actually going to be completed by the Turkey Bowl?
We had you sign that letter of intent that we would go forward.
Right.
He's actually working today.
Right. Great. Okay.
I'll make one caveat. The wall will be finished hopefully by Turkey Bowl. The plaques will be somewhat temporary. We're hopeful that encourages others to want to be on the plaque.
Right.
And remember, this is for recognition really for our last project and all the donors of the Athletic Foundation, but to have something there for Turkey Bowl and, people are excited about that. We've been talking about it for a long time.
So the donor wall will be a living process that as people come on
Certainly
board.
add people to the donor wall.
You can always add
Space.
people to donor wall.
And
Get
better than
plenty of
Darien
space.
Stonewall.
Right.
Remind me where it is. So is it a standalone wall or is it contiguous to something else?
It comes off of the existing entranceway.
Yeah.
Basically on an ellipse in front of
Okay.
you. So as you're walking up, it'll be a nice ellipse facing you with the brass plaques along it.
And it's contemplated to be part of what will be Phase 1B, the press box and a new ticket booth and entryway. So it will be the new entryway to Dunning.
Got it.
But this first part, you'll see
What-
there's actually a gate there that they use for big games that
Like, is there, you said phase 1B, is there a phase 2, phase 3, phase 2A? I mean,
Well, yeah, the phase 1 was in essence the donor wall,
Right.
entryway and the press box.
Right.
We divided those up because the press box, because of the nature of the work, and we're working on revising the plans for the press box. Phase 2, 3, and 4 were, phase 2 was in essence circulation and parking
Right.
on the outside.
Right.
That traffic circle. And then phase 3 and 4 were the the new bathrooms for home and away, and then the concession stand.
And Michael, while we got you here, and thank you for coming, for gosh sakes. Where are you guys, the NCAF, with respect to funding commitments for those other outlying projects? It's a loaded question.
Some of
but-
that is actually on the town based upon discussions with the Board of Finance specific.
Which it should be. I mean, this is a partnership, private.
Right, the
public
traffic
part-
circle and parking areas is in essence, it should be a town project. No one's gonna want to fund a traffic circle. Let's be
Even if you
honest.
name it.
If you
But we do have
maybe.
Tiger
Got Tiger,
Way.
right, yeah, and then the bathrooms themselves, we felt it felt that should be a town function as well, because in essence, no one would want to name a bathroom. So So, yeah, the last phase would be the concession stand. We're hoping at that point in time would be a partnership again with, with the foundation. But a couple of phases in the middle there, we're strictly more town oriented.
I got it, and I'm wholly supportive of that. So that's helpful, Tiger. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions?
None here.
I move we approve this request from Public Works in partnership with the New Canaan Athletic Foundation to enter into a contract with Grasso Construction in the amount of $109,577, which includes a contingency for the installation of the new donor wall at Dunning Stadium, with funds to be provided by the Athletic Foundation. Second, further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
your
Appreciate it.
service over the last bunch of
Okay.
years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. All right, back to
27.
27.
Purchase of vehicles for our land use departments. Just see, we're looking to purchase two EVs, EUV 22Is. They're a 2022, so they're considered a used vehicle. However, they each have less than 10 miles on them. So the price is reflective of that as well, that it's a used vehicle.
Are you serious? 10 miles?
One is 6 and one is 8, I believe. Yeah, excuse me. One's 11 and one is 8. But yeah, they were used as executive vehicles, and that not necessarily, for that long.
And how much do we save?
We're saving a good amount of money. I don't have the overall what the MSRP was. But each one is at 33,164 for a total of 66,328. We're trading in a 2008 Chevy Trailblazer and a 2010 Chevy Traverse. You can imagine that those have been well used. They're giving us $650 for one and $550 for the other, for a total net of 65,128. And the funds are currently available in the DPW administration engineering budget of fiscal 24. And this should round out basically our fleet for land use itself. We have 1 or 2 vehicles that are used by building department, but those are in pretty good shape according to our mechanics. So this got rid of a lot of the dead wood, if you would.
Sounds like a great deal.
Questions?
How many EVs do we have now? Is it 3?
That'll make 5.
5. Okay.
I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Carl Chevrolet in the amount of $65,128 for the purchase of 2 used 2022 Chevy Bolt EV vehicles. Second
here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This next item is for the purchase of our treated salt for the season. We are part of CROG, Capital Regional Council of Governments. They go out on a bidding process for it. We put in our order, a minimum order of 1,500 tons, and usually what they do is they double that for a maximum of 3,000 tons. There was a large uptick in the price last year, if you remember. We went from 74.17 to 95.55. This year, the uptick is a lot less, just about $4. So they went to 99.85. So a $4.30 increase, which is a little bit more in keeping with what should have been happening.
Tiger, remind me, what was the big uptick last year?
It was about $75,000.
No, but the reasoning.
Why? I don't know, to be quite honest with you. They had been hovering in the $60 to $70 range for since fiscal 12 or so. They had been hovering, they started at 80, went up to around 85, and then dropped around fiscal 16, 17, all the way down to fiscal 21, where they were around $60 a ton.
But
And then
then
they jumped.
we didn't use, last
No,
year,
it
I
has
think we
nothing
had
to do
one
with-
snow day,
It
right?
has nothing to do with usage, it just has to do with what their pricing is.
Right.
They're supplying pricing for
Right.
basically the entire Northeast corridor, right? So
Right.
I think that they looked back on their pricing and said, what are we doing?
Right.
Because they were the only item that was actually dropping in unit prices while everything else was increasing.
Right.
I can't explain that. Except for the fact that we benefited from a lower price.
Right.
So at present, we're looking at the total purchase amount, should we need it, of 3,000 tons would be $299,550. And the funds are currently available in the highway fiscal 24 operating budget.
Tiger, what happens when we don't use the salt that we've proposed? Do we just keep it for the following year
Correct.
or
We try to end with a full shed at the end of the season.
try to end with?
End with a full shed.
Okay.
Yeah, that way we don't run into supply chain issues or any problems at the end of the fiscal year. But if we're, last year we only used approximately 800 tons. So we didn't purchase that. But then at the same time, we don't have a storm budget. We don't have a snow budget. So when we're not buying salt, we're buying drainage materials, we're buying, gravel and things of that nature to keep our crews working. Because since it was a more mild winter, we kept our crews working, doing other things that required supplies.
And if we have leftovers, Kath, we bottle it up and sell it at Walter Stewart's.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I move we approve the request from Public Works to continue an agreement with Morton Salt for the purchase of up to 3,000 tons of treated rock salt as described by Tiger for a maximum or 299,550. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you. This next is for our liquid ice be gone purchase, the Magic -0, if you will. It's trade name. Their unit price is $1.69. We're looking at a requested purchase of 12,000 gallons for $20,280. The funds are currently available in the fiscal 24 budget. And again, as far as liquid ice be gone, they've been holding this price almost consistently through last 2 years. They've seen a little increase, but from fiscal 12 through fiscal 22, we were just below $1.40 a gallon. Now we just started to uptick a little bit on it, but I think it's more in keeping with inflation as we see it.
Any questions? No.
Not here.
I move we approve a request from Public Works to enter into a contract with Innovative Surface Solutions to purchase 12,000 gallons of liquid ice be gone for $20,280 as described by Tiger. Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'll do if that's okay. Then I got the two trees. So this next is just an increase or an extension of the contract with New England Paving. We did a similar thing last year. We went to 3 phases where we had 100, 150. We'd like to do the exact same. So this is the last $50,000 for phase 3 for New England Paving to help us with utility repairs and small localized repairs on our roads, driveway aprons, curbing repair, things of that nature. They've done fantastic work for us, and we'd like to continue that agreement.
Any questions? I move we approve this request to extend the contract with New England Paving in the amount of $50,000 for phase 3 of the paved 2023 localized repairs project. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to tree work.
Tree work. This is the emergency tree work. You had approved a blanket POs for us for emergency tree work. Excuse me. And the purchase orders were for $20,000 each. Last year, our pricing per vendor ranged from $11,325 to $45,691. We're getting to the point where some of the vendors on their emergency services are above 20,000. So what we'd like to do is just get permission to increase the PO for a $45,000 maximum per vendor. And then we'll have to move monies around based upon if one vendor is seeing more emergency work than another. And it really comes down to luck of the draw. I don't even know if it's considered luck of the draw for them since they're being called out, at all hours of the day. But right now we had capped it at 20,000, but our history had shown that, we could be up to 45. So we're just asking for that permission to increase the PO to that, and then we'll budget accordingly as we go through the season. Bob makes sure that every single invoice is commensurate with the work that was done, on that emergency basis. So it's just in order for us to allow to continue this project.
Any questions?
Do you have a separate line item for the budget for emergency tree work or?
No, it's inside we have a line item for highways, a
Right.
line item for parks, and then a line item for road, for maintenance, tree maintenance. This falls underneath basically the highway line.
So even though this is increasing your overall budget, you're not changing?
We're not, no, we're not. We'll manage within. It's just a question of, we couldn't tell you that Olmsted's going to go to 45 and Darien's going to stay at 12. We don't know that. So we're just asking for permission that if we need to be able to increase that PO accordingly up to 45,000. If we get to past 45,000, we'll come back again. Hopefully we won't get to that level.
You won't come back to us. But
No,
that's okay.
but we'll be back here. Unfortunately, we'll be back, but we'll come to the next group.
Sure.
I move we approve this request to increase the blanket purchase order for the vendors on our tablets for up to $45,000 to perform emergency on-call tree work. Second.
Second here.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And this last item is for Bob's most recent tree bid of October 19th. We had 3 bidders come back. You can look at the how tight they were. They were, within $800 between Mill River and Hutchinson Tree Care. Mill River was the low at $24,285. It's for 12 separate locations in town. We've got some work to do inside the center school parking lot and various roads in town where the majority of them are just dead and decaying trees that need to be removed.
Can I make a suggestion that Bob come to the Board of Selectmen meeting so we actually know we have the tree warden?
I can have him come. It's more just a question of he's limited. He's part-time and I'd rather have him out in the field than here, but I can certainly have him come, at least stop in so you see his face. That'd be nice.
Any questions about?
We'll see his face. Not us.
That's right, but any questions?
I'm done here.
I move refer the request from the tree warden to enter into a contract with Mill River Tree Service in the amount of $24,285 for the removal, pruning, and stump removal of various trees in town. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Just moving along. I think we have 4 more items. Oh, we got to go back to the library, right?
Good morning. We are here to ask to bring Matt Fusaro off probation. He started with us in April. He's been a great asset to the Parks Department, hard worker and team player.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Wanted to add what Cheryl emphasized, that Matt's been a great player with the team, gets along with everybody on the crew. He does everything he's asked to do. He's eager to learn new things. So we think he'd be a great addition to the team.
Super.
Questions?
None here.
I move we approve the request from Human Resources to remove Matt Fusaro from the probationary status. Second.
Second here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a bunch of automobile refunds, tax overpayments on the tablets. I move we approve them.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contracts. A bunch of contracts on the tablets. We spent all the money.
No comments.
Okay, and then we go back to the library loan documents. Is Bob on by Zoom? Bob Bubman? Hi, Bob. So the library loan documents for the legacy loan is the documents previously went through the bodies. We made some changes from the documents we originally saw. Most importantly to the promissory note, which again, this is a secured line of credit for $2 million for the movement and bidding out of the legacy building. And this will go on to we're recommending special appropriation to the Board of Finance, and then the town council will have to take it up in December after we advertise. So any questions about this?
I did.
Go ahead.
So just 2 things on the, hi, Bob. I don't see it. Is he on?
He is.
Okay. So on the advance period for the credit loan on the legacy building, so that date has been set. So it's 4 years from now, December 2007. That wasn't, I guess that's the new completion deadline. Is that correct? For the legacy loan?
It's my understanding that we hope to have the building, completed by the end of like 2.5 years from now. That was the date that roughly I had in my mind, but I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I thought so too. It just seems to have been extended to 2027.
I think it might have been extended another year, only because in the case we needed to draw down money after we've completed it, because there's a mismatch between whatever pledges we have and expenses, that we'd have the option of continuing to borrow. So they extended another year beyond that, much like they did in the main building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe that addresses a new addition on the covenants, section 4.05, and this addresses phase 2 for the legacy building. And the amount is 2 million, and it references that once phase 2 is approved, the borrower may request and receive advances under this loan agreement. And so I guess my question is, so phase 1 and all of phase 2 or part of phase 2 will be addressed in this legacy loan agreement, or will there be an addition to that?
No, everything should be addressed in phase 2. So you think about the total cost of the project, it's going to be roughly 3 million. That's the best estimate as of now. So our 2 million of borrowing capacity will really wrap up everything we'll need to do with respect to that building, I would assume.
Okay, so the additional million comes from some other source.
Correct. We're gonna be starting a fundraising campaign, obviously, as soon as possible in the new year.
That was my question is, where is that fundraising campaign? When is that going to kick off? And what are your expectations with respect to donors?
Yeah, so as we stand today, we're wrapping up the capital campaign for the green, which is going very well. And you don't really want to conflate the two. What we're doing is we're broadening out the whole fundraising effort to a more strategic effort across a broad spectrum of activities. And, as part of that, we'll start a campaign as it relates to the legacy building. Now, it's not clear at this stage of the game what the final purpose of that building is going to be. So it's a little hard to get a detailed campaign going. But I suspect that will be a primary effort on our part, the first quarter of next year.
Would that include naming rights?
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, if there's a large donor that comes along and has, a specific purpose for that building, and we feel it's consistent with, the library's overall mandate, then there's a potential for that. But right now, no decision's been made on the naming of that building.
So you're in this, you're talking about now about the green. That campaign, that's going to end.
The green wraps up here at year end.
And then
anything that carries over into new year will be just cleanup, if you will. But we're on target with everything with respect to the main project in phase 2 of the main project to be wrapping up here at year end, and Turner is going to be, moving off site and finishing everything out. So whatever happens with, what I'll call phase 2 of legacy will probably not start till sometime mid to late next year, I would think.
That's helpful, Bob. Thank you.
And then one last question that actually ties to something that Ian said at our last meeting. And so how much of this 2 million do you think will be drawn down, say, in the next quarter or the remaining part of this calendar year? And does that work for you? And have you worked out whether you're going to need to go into a taxable municipal? Have you figured all that out? That was a conversation we had.
Based upon the fact that they don't expect to draw on the construction loan in December, we expect we're not even authorizing bonding. This is anticipated to be entirely general fund.
The 2 million for the legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And as far as the schedule for drawdown, we anticipate drawing down 1 million of it immediately.
Okay.
And really that would be to finish out phase 1 of the legacy, which we have another, let's say roughly 700,000 in payables as part of the GMP with Turner. And we'll reimburse the remaining amount to the endowment, which is basically being liquidated right now to pay the existing bills. We certainly don't anticipate and hope we'll never even draw down on the next million of it, because we'll offset that with fundraising.
Yeah, to complete what I was trying to say though, because this, had we done bonding, it would have to be taxable for this
Right.
purpose.
Mhm.
We're going to charge a taxable rate on this loan,
Okay,
which is still less than a
Yeah, yeah,
third party lender would be
Right.
charging. So
Right.
they're getting the benefit of that, but otherwise we'd be investing our general fund balances at a higher rate.
okay, good.
So,
That's great.
okay, so any further questions, or I move we approve? What does the agenda item say?
Library loan documents, number 8.
Back
Number
to-
8.
Number 8.
Move we approve the finalized documents related to the New Canaan Library project and New Canaan Library Legacy Building project, because we are amending also the construction loan agreement.
Mhm.
And then and also approve a resolution authorizing the special appropriation of $2 million to the New Canaan Library to be used to cover expenses for the library associated with the relocation and renovation of the legacy building, and the resolution is set forth in our agenda, so I won't read it, but so I move both items, and is there a second?
Second here.
Is there further discussion?
None here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, you're welcome.
That concludes our agenda. Except for final selectmen comments.
Final.
Is that where we are?
We are.
Comments?
Yeah.
That was a long agenda. Wow.
Do you want to start first?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to very briefly, because this has been a long agenda, and I just want to really make just 4 really quick points, and they're really all about thanks. And I'm going to start first with my Board of Selectmen colleagues. You know, Nick, you and I have been working together now for 3 years, and I have to say, I couldn't ask for a better fellow selectman. I'm just sort of thinking quickly over the things that we worked on together over the last couple of years. But I really appreciate the professionalism with which you have operated, and really appreciate your friendship as well. And then Kevin, you and I have actually worked together for 7 years.
That's right.
In the town council, and now here on the Board of Selectmen. And, you know, as I look back, I'm actually probably most proud of the work that we did together on the town council, and we put together the audit committee and the ethics board and lots of other things we worked together. And it was always a privilege to do that, working with you. And even on the Board of Selectmen, I have to say, well, I oftentimes had to be the counterbalance. I always, appreciated the fact that we would always respect one another at the end of the day, even though our differences were clear. And I want to thank you just really on behalf as a resident, your service as a first selectman. There are many, many things, too many to mention, what you've done for our town. And I just wanted to thank you as a citizen for all of those services. And I wish you the best as you go forward in your next journey. I just also want to thank every single person that serves for our town. I mean, every name I can point to each person and tell you how much I love each one of you and what you've done for our town. You are the connective tissue of our town. You're the ones that hold it all together, and almost sort of the silent asset that we have in our town. And I'm most grateful for all of you. And then the third area, I want to thank the spouses. I want to thank Mim and Whitney and my husband, Randy, for the time you've put up with us in terms of the times we had to spend working on the Board of Selectmen and other areas. We are most grateful to each and every one of you. And then finally, I'd like to thank the community. We're here to work for you. And I really think about, every single constituent that we work for in our town. And I'll just end by saying, when I look at the new Board of Selectmen, I'm very proud to say that these new 3 very talented people who are coming in. Congratulations to Deanna and to our fellow selectmen. Steve, you're on the line. Amy, you're somewhere there too. I'm just going to end with something that is sort of my North Star. And that is from one of my favorite poets. says at the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or what you did. They'll remember how you made them feel. So I ask that you consider that as you go forward into working on behalf of all of our constituents in this wonderful community of New Canaan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kat. Thank
Nice.
you, Kathleen. Wow. 16 years, and 12 on the Board of Selectmen. It has been my great honor and privilege to have served this incredible community. Kathleen, I think you ticked all the boxes. I'm looking out to employees and friends that I've made and made my life all the more better. This is an incredible town. This is an incredible town hall with fabulous employees, and you know, that's really special. I want to thank Whitney, my family, my kids for putting up with this over the years. You've been incredible. And as Kathleen said, all the spouses out there that are married to folks who volunteer in our community, thanks to them, thanks to the, thanks to all who have made this community better. This Board of Selectmen has achieved a lot, Kevin and Kathleen. And, we've had good times and maybe some not so good times, but I think we've achieved a lot. The legacy of this Board of Selectmen is, I think, outstanding and will be received as that and should be going forward. Thank you to the constituents, the community. We had an election yesterday with an incredible turnout. We're going to be succeeded by a fabulous Board of Selectmen with 2 women, which I think is great. So thank you to all. I love you. I don't think this may not be my last swan song, but if it is, God bless you and God bless the town of New Canaan, and thank you.
Thank you both. It's been a true honor and privilege to serve our wonderful town of New Canaan for the last 6 years as first selectman. 6 years ago, as a sitting member of the town council, I challenged the incumbent Republican first selectman because I was frustrated with the progress that was being made with improving cell service and with bringing natural gas to town. After retiring in 2009 from a very gratifying 35-year career as a Wall Street attorney, I never dreamed of running for public office or being first selectman. I did not expect to win in 2017 because Rob was such a popular and engaging friend to nearly everyone. And as you know, I barely won both the caucus and the general election that first year. For my first year in office, I actually called myself the accidental first selectman. Serving as first selectman is in some ways an easy job because New Canaan is such a fortunate town filled with educated, talented, and generous residents, so many of whom volunteer their time in local government service and with the many nonprofits that make New Canaan the special place that it is. I want to thank all the men and women who volunteer their time on our many boards and commissions as elected or appointed officials and make our local government run, especially those who served on the town council, the Board of Finance, the Board of Education, and the Audit Committee. It has been a pleasure and an honor to have served with all of you. From the beginning, the most pleasant part of the job has been working with our talented town employees and managers in town hall who proudly serve our residents and through their efforts make New Canaan such a remarkable and beautiful place to live. All of our employees take great pride in their work, and I want to thank all of them for being colleagues in service to New Canaan. I especially acknowledge and thank the person I regard as our MVP, Tiger Man. No employee is more talented, works harder, or is more dedicated to this town than Tiger. I also want to make special mention and extend warm thanks to 3 special teams. First, our first responders, fire, police, EMS, and public works, who protect our residents from every imaginable harm every day and especially during emergencies, and who literally risk their own safety to serve our residents. Second, our superintendent, Dr. Brian Lutzy, and his amazing team of educators and administrators, who, as Brian would say, do the most important work on the planet of educating our youth and doing exceedingly well. And third, our emergency management, medical advisors, and health director, who helped us through the COVID pandemic better than most any other town or city in Connecticut. Last but not least, I want to thank my two fellow selectmen, Nick and Kathleen, and Kip before her, for their service as partners in overseeing our government. You have served well.
Thank you.
Finally, I want to say that I'm very proud of the body of work, the many accomplishments that we achieved together over the last 6 years. I am especially proud of our infrastructure improvements, such as natural gas, cell service, sustainable energy equipment, the public-private partnerships with Waveney Park Conservancy, New Canaan Athletic Foundation, Land Trust and Friends of Bristow, New Canaan Public Library, New Canaan, the Cinema Lab Investor Partners in the Playhouse, Silver Hill Hospital with the Urgent Assessment Program, Waveney Life Care Network with telemedicine, the New Canaan YMCA, the co-owner of the 220 Elm Street Home for the Board of Ed, and the many, many nonprofits such as the Town Players, Carriage Barn, Art Center, New Canaan Community Foundation, Chamber of Commerce, New Canaan Cares, and the list goes on. Thank you to everyone who has helped make New Canaan the best town we can be. And thank you to our residents who gave me the opportunity to serve. God bless New Canaan. Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thank you.
And we're gonna have some cake, I guess.
Call the meeting to adjourn.
Oh, I move we adjourn. Steve, we spent all the money today, so
Nothing left, Steve.
I move we adjourn.
Second the motion.